Started.
There we go. Okay, hello and welcome. This is the SIG Storage Weekly Volume Populators meeting. So I have a few things to report for the last week and a few questions to ask for you guys, and then I can open it up for anyone who wants to add something else to the agenda. So I have been working towards getting the alpha releases out, which is going to involve getting all the code review comments updated, and getting, but more importantly, getting release tools integrated into the various branches. And I kind of screwed up the way I did release tools with one of the repos. So I've been sort of untangling that mess, and I think it's basically I have a solution now. So I just have to get push a bunch more PRs into each repo and get the release tools updated, and then do the release, and then we can move on to API reviews for 122, which we found out yesterday the schedule for, and it's incredibly tight, right, Sheng? It's like we have 2 weeks until the next feature freeze or something like that, or the enhancements freeze. Yeah, so there's basically almost no time to get the APIs reviewed again. So I'm going to be contacting Tim in parallel with all of this work to at least get something on the calendar, so we can hopefully get his nod for getting this merged, or getting the KEP changes merged, and then we can move into 122, which we also heard yesterday is going to be a 4-month-long release, unlike the original plan, I think, which was 3 months long. So I think we've permanently moved now into 4-month releases, so at least we have some predictability around that.
Yeah, I think there's more time to write code, get code merged. But the enhancement, that time period seems to be shorter than before for some reason. Maybe just because they made the decision later or something.
Yeah, I think that there was a sort of a gap week between the end of 121 and the beginning of 122, while maybe it's even 2 weeks, while they were figuring out the schedule change, and they've only lengthened the whole schedule by 4 weeks. So if 2 of those weeks goes to code development and 1 of those weeks goes to testing, there's only an extra week to lengthen the enhancements period. So I totally get why they did what they did. Makes sense to me. But this brings me to the main problem I'm facing. So I have a lot of PRs I want to merge. As I was going through and doing some of the cleanup around the lib volume populator library, I discovered, I'm missing a bunch of logging. There's some obvious performance enhancements I could make. There's just like a bunch of changes that I wanted to slam in, and I don't know if I can expect rapid code reviews. So what I'm wondering is,
there were a lot of, I saw, I was just going through this before this meeting. There were 2 PRs on the volume data source validator. So I reviewed one, and the other one is the release tools. I thought do you need to make changes in the release tools repo first? I'm not quite sure what is the status, because
no, I have I haven't pushed all my PRs yet. What I wanted to discuss with this team is for projects that are sort of at their early alpha stages, do we ever relax the sort of the merge requirements and just like allow things to merge quickly? Or
that didn't happen with the snapshot, at least. We got PRs out there for a very long time.
You know what we're doing with Cozy, for example? The Cozy guys are beavering away.
But they do, but they do have people reviewing them, right? It's not like you don't review, then you just get them in. And also that's like it's like provisional. They have the, right, so it's a little different.
Well, yeah, so this is what I wanted to sort out is do we want to relax the code review guidelines? And if not, and it sounds like the answer is no, then I need to have at least a few people that I can sort of ping for rapid code reviews for small things and just sort of get them in. Because like
small things should be fine. I mean, it's just the big ones, like like your initial commit that huge, that takes a long time, right? So so I think I reviewed the one, right? I still need to do the other one. Okay. So the volume data source, you have you addressed the comment. I just reviewed that one.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so I need to review this other one, but it's because it's big, so that will take some time.
Yeah.
But if it's
Was
like
there-
release tools, then you should really ping like Patrick. Did you ping him to take a look?
No.
He will
The
be
release tool
quicker.
stuff is fine. That's
Oh,
fine.
okay.
I just have to push the branch. The branch is going to have a series of commits, because what I had to do is I had to delete the whole release tools directory, then
Okay.
re-pull it
So
as if it
yeah,
was
so if you
new.
can separate it'll be better if your each PR is smaller. That it will be easier for people to look at. So don't mix your release tool changes with your like functional
No,
code changes.
right. But like
Yeah.
I'm saying, even the release tool changes is like a 5 commit series, because the first commit deletes everything that was there. The second commit pulls in new release tools, and the third commit, well, actually, the pulling in new release tools involves 2 commits. There's a base commit and a merge commit, and then there's another commit that like adds the cloud build.sh and cloud build.yaml files. So there's a series, but yeah, like that's a self-contained release tools update that can merge by itself. There was so on the other one, the lib volume populator, I have like a series of PRs that I haven't pushed yet that mutually depend on each other, because I implement one and then I implement another and then I implement another. Are we allowed to push multiple PRs that are mutually dependent, so they have to merge in a certain order?
Yeah, that's actually, yeah, especially if your PR is too big, it's actually good to do that way so people can look at each one,
Well,
just separate. Another way is you can do is if you separate them into separate commits in the same PR, that's another way. But I mean, it may be difficult to update though, to address like when you address comments, then they probably will be, then how do you keep them separate, right? That's a challenge. So I think it's probably easier if you just making them into different PRs. I think that's actually easier. So we can just
but
look at the first
but
one.
you can have a PR with like 3 commits.
Yeah,
And
what I'm saying
of
is then when you
one of the
address the
commits
comments,
is
that's a little messy. That was
right. Oh, I'm hoping that these are going to be no-brainers that are easy to merge, and there won't be any comments. I'm hoping, because yeah, they're just, it's just adding log statements where there are none.
Oh yeah, those should be fine. Yeah, if it's just
That kind of
logs,
stuff.
then it should be fine. Yeah, but if you separate them, they'll be,
Okay.
easier.
So Shing, if you're willing to volunteer to do like relatively quick turnaround reviews on small PRs, I will just.
Small PRs I can quick. I just reviewed one this morning that I merged it. I hope it's
Okay.
not enough.
I'll push a bunch of them up then, because I have them sitting in my workspace. I was trying to figure out how to do this, but if you just want to push up small individual PRs and you'll review them, then we can sort of get the repos in the shape they need to be in to actually do an alpha release quickly. And then
Yeah, because sometimes, like for example, like the snapshotter, when we actually ask several people to review the controller itself, just took a long. That's why it takes a long time for that thing to get merged. Like, and there was API reviews and for the CRDs, and then there was a controller review. So it takes a really long time for the initial PRs to get merged. But I think yours at least the CRD is not that complicated. It's easier that way at least. But I do need to look at your initial commit for the lib.
volume pub.
Yeah,
Okay.
I need to.
Okay. All right. So
one quick comment, like Ashutosh here. Hello.
Yeah.
So I know, like, I don't have the authority to approve or do something like that, but if I'm happy to actually do the cosmetic reviews if that helps. So
yeah, definitely helps. Actually, I think it's good to have more eyes.
Right.
Even if if you don't have you can add a label or something. If you just say look good to me, that actually helps, right? So I see, okay, there's more people looking at it. It's actually good. Yeah.
Isn't it
and
the
that
case
way, and that will also
anyone?
get the hang of how the things are. So hopefully we can
Can't anyone do the LGTM? Isn't that open to all?
If you are a member of a 6, are you a member of a Kubernetes 6? Then you can do LGTM. Yeah.
Ashutosh, are you a member of Kubernetes CSI?
This is 6.
Unfortunately
Okay.
not.
Okay. Yeah. That's okay. If he just write down LGTM, then that's good.
Yeah. We would appreciate any eyes on these changes. Okay, so we unfortunately don't have a dedicated channel where I can just sort of ping everyone, but I'll put comments maybe in the SIG storage channel
Yeah, then you can, then maybe other people, who want to volunteer to review, they can also, it's good to get more people to look at it.
Yeah, I'll put links in the SIG storage channel, and I'll tag you, Xing, and Ashutosh for reviews.
There's also like a PR review selection, but I don't know who is actually paying attention to that. The separate, it's like for all the Kubernetes PRs, and it's actually just a separate channel for that. But I think probably SIG storage is more relevant.
You mean the product readiness one?
No, there is a channel called PR Reviews. So they're actually suggest you to actually go there to pin people. But I mean, people may not be, like, people in SIG storage may not be there. So that's the only challenge.
Right. Yeah, I imagine that's for people that need direction, that they have a change that they want to propose, and they have no idea who to talk to about it. Maybe those people will help direct.
So those are like, usually they suggest you to pin people there. However, I mean, I found that, I mean, I'm not paying much attention to that channel at all. So unless if people just pin, like, if they just put my name there, then of course, right, it doesn't matter which channel that is. But otherwise, I mean, how do I pay attention to that? There's like all over, this is like all Kubernetes, right? So
yeah, but we have a million channels, and Slack is a horrible way of communicating, but it's sort of, it's good enough, I guess. It's just not great. Okay, so thank you, Xing. Thank you, Ashutosh. I will work on flinging all my PRs in there to try to get them rapidly merged, and get things in releasable shape in parallel with trying to schedule an API review with Tim as soon as possible. So aside from Tim and me and I don't know, Xing, do you want to be in an API review meeting, or should we try to bring Saad?
I'd like to be in the API review meeting as well. Yeah.
Okay. So the mutual scheduling might start to get hairy the more people we are.
Yeah, required. That's the thing. You probably want to get Tim. Just make sure you get Tim. Okay. Because I think from the storage side, it's easier. So definitely get him.
Yeah. So I'll work on that.
And then also, I'm not sure, like this, I don't know about his schedule, like the, KubeCons next week. So I don't know if his schedule get tighter because of that, because a lot of people like me, like next week probably will be difficult. But I don't know about him. So I'm just saying, that's why I'm saying this new release schedule is very bad. Like 1 week after KubeCon, it's actually really bad timing.
Yeah, I had forgotten about KubeCon.
Yeah. But you can check with him. I'm not sure,
I'll see if I can get on the schedule for this week then. We still have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I guess. Maybe he's got a slot. And this should be a quick one because we've talked about it at length 3 months ago.
Yeah, I think it's really because he has this concern about is that relaxing the data source thing, right? Was that, I forgot what was exactly was that the...
It's going to be a backwards incompatible change.
Okay.
Because if you put a core Kubernetes object in the data source field of a PVC today, it just ignores it.
Okay. So we want to basically fail that or something.
Actually throw an error. Yeah. So that's a backwards incompatible change, and I think everyone agrees. Like, yes, that is what we should do. But we just need to get people to say, to actually agree to that. So so this adds even more urgency to get on Tim's calendar for me. So I'll make that my top priority. As for this group, the other thing I wanted to bring up today is around, so release tools. I understand, when you're releasing a container, it has all the machinery to do a tag and push a.
So those should be okay. So there is some are automatic, and then there is also some manual things that you have to do afterwards. So when you get there, I can show you how. But I mean, I don't know if you're probably need certain permissions to do that.
I've never been through that path before, so I'm gonna have to read all those docs. But the thing
so
particularly...
you get your first thing done first, and then there's a few things like the image we have to kind of promote it. We actually have to submit a PR. In the
so there's a separate,
there are just so many different repos. Sometimes I just go blank. I don't know which one is that. So there's a different repo that we have to submit a PR so that the images will be promoted, because right now what happens is, so I think Yeah, so I think it should be because as long as your image get built, right? But there's a release tool if you can automatically get those built. And then, oh, did you set up the in the test info? Did you get those set up? You need those.
No.
Oh,
There's a lot of stuff that I need to do
Okay.
mechanically, but my specific question is about the library. Libraries don't produce any artifacts. There's no container.
Oh, you don't
There's
have
no
to.
binary,
Okay.
right?
But then,
So what is the process for releasing a library?
oh, okay. So, okay, maybe then we can look at the, like because we do have that client library for the snapshot. So we just tagged it, I think. What do we do?
No,
We don't have
have
any images for that.
What the one I was thinking about in particular was the volume populator library. No, sorry, the external provisioner library. The external provisioner library. So external provisioner, a bunch of its code is actually in a library that's in a separate repo, right?
Oh yeah, so they release it. I haven't looked at how they, but like for example, I think it's going to be saying they tag it, but you don't have like images, but you still tag it. People can just use that. Yeah.
So my question is, do you even need release tools to do that? If it's a library, does release tools do anything? Because there's no makefile.
I think that one still has release tools. That particular one, I believe. So because you still need to run all those CIs and everything, right? So it's not just for building the images, but also running all of those tests. I think you still have to run those tests in there.
Okay, well, we're not going to have a lot of tests with the populator stuff right off the bat.
Right. Oh, that's actually, that one is on the 6th. So yeah, okay. You know what? I'm not sure actually. Probably need to we need to check that out, or we need to ask.
Who would know if not you?
Patrick would know, and Michelle should know more than me about this. You know, all of this. You can ask her because Patrick maybe a little late for him. He's probably still around. So
this doesn't need to be done today. I needed to know, like, but first of all, if I should be trying to merge release tools into that repo. So it sounds like
I think that's unique. Okay, I think it looks like that one is the actually that one is like what is Matt Wang is the one who is doing the release. So and Yang Yang also did the release for that one. So maybe, but if you look at what they released, they just release the the source code. Those are automatically there's no images, but they tag it. So but that one also let's see, that one. Oh, this one does not have release tools. Okay, I thought it has release tools. I'm just checking that one. This one does not have release tools. Okay. Oh, so maybe that's easier then. Yeah, so you probably should actually check ask Yang, because Matt, I'm not sure how to get hold of him. I'm just looking at that repo. I don't see release tools there. But they do have a E2E. Interesting. They do have a test E2E. I'm not sure what this one is. This one? Okay.
We're looking, this is a SIG storage.
Okay, so
external provisioner, is that right?
It's in okay, let me put it in the chat here.
Well, this one, right? I just pulled it up on the screen.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't see release tools there. So but they do have some E2 like test E2E. So I don't know what they run, but we can take a look of the, they have some PRs out, right? So let's see what is run.
This is very simple. This is like a 49-line shell script.
So they do have, okay. So you just, what you do, you go to the test info and see what type of CI is set up there. So there is CIs. If you see there's a test, there's a build, there's a unit, or two tests there. One is the unit test, the other is this external provision build. You just look at the PRs, the recent PRs there. There are two jobs there. So I think you probably just need to set up something similar, but at least looks like you don't need release tools in this repo. You know what I mean? Did you see the take a look of the PR on that repo?
Yeah, this is one of the PRs.
Yeah. So if you look at it, there are like, I only see two jobs. One is the unit test, and then there's a build. Oh, how come you don't see the?
I don't see anything.
Yeah? The first one. How come you? Oh, maybe you didn't log in.
Oh, because I'm not logged in.
Yeah, if you log in, you will see there are a couple jobs. So I think you need to set up something similar.
here's Firefox is where I'm logged in. Oh, okay. So yeah, you got to be logged in to see this.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So go to test info and see how this one is set up. Because
there's a separate repo for test infra, or is this
test is the
inside?
same test info, right? You were going to set that up anyway for your other repo anyway, right? There's a test info that you need to set up your jobs. I thought if you check your notes, you should have that in your notes somewhere. I thought we talked about this last time.
Yes, I have links to the guides that I have not yet read.
Okay.
I will read those, but I'm just.
But I'm saying
are
that
you pointing to something in here or in a separate repo?
For each repo, you need to set up separate jobs.
Okay, in a separate repo, not in the repo itself.
It's in the test. It's called test info.
Okay.
It's a Kubernetes test info, I think.
Okay, so I really need to read those guides now.
Yeah, and then go there and you can see. I think you will find jobs set under Kubernetes CSI, and this is under Kubernetes 6. So I don't know if there's anything similar under Kubernetes CSI, but yeah, just look at this one. I think it should be similar anyway.
Okay, but it looks like whatever tests are run by the SIG storage lib external provisioner, they're minimal, right?
Yeah, definitely. This one looks much so that's much easier. That's good. At least this one is simpler than this other one. You probably just set up something that you need to do the same thing as the other.
Well, I want to start off with like one sanity test that just to prove that it works, and then expand it over time, of course.
Yeah, I think for the first one, you probably just set up the unit test. I think that'll be good.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this then will be my model. Is the lib external provisioner for the library, because it doesn't produce any artifacts or binaries. So I guess release tools isn't necessary here, but you still need some sort of makefile that does something. So we'll figure out some verifies.
Yeah, and there's actually a lot of you don't have anyone help you. It's a lot of work just to get all of this things set up. I mean,
so Saad and you are the ones that are helping me, and if you'll remember,
I'm not having with review. I'm saying that like the coding part looks like you don't have anyone help you with like getting this thing set up, and there's a lot of work. That's what I'm saying. So.
This is why I was resistant to having any new repos way back when. Reuse the repos,
it's definitely a pain.
But we made this decision, so I'm just going to learn it all, and then once I know it all, then it'll be easy. So you're seeing me learn as we go, and yeah, it's just it's hard to do under the gun of the schedule, but certainly, even if we don't get a release out by the alpha release out by the feature freeze or the enhancements freeze, we can still get the APIs approved for 122 and then do an alpha release and a beta release both in the
because this is out of tree. So this part is okay. But you also need to make some changes in tree, right? For that.
Yes, and that PR has been sitting there since January.
Oh, okay. So you have to PR that. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, that PR is written and ready to merge. In fact, I think there's two. There's one for the backwards incompatible change, and there's one to flip the feature gate. And those are both ready.
Okay.
The only additional changes would be if there was any feedback from the API review saying no, we want to change something, then I'd have to update those PRs. But yeah, those are ready to go. It's this out of tree stuff and the API approval that's been holding us back. So that's, I think, what I wanted to cover today. Thank you for all of the information, Xing. It's very helpful, and for people volunteering to review. Did anyone else have a topic for today or a question? I lost my participant list. Here it is.
I do have a little update, Ben. Like last week, I told that I'll go through the code to write some tests. Actually did not get a chance with the havoc going in India. So I'll just again look back into that. But the question is the test thing a priority? Like I see that there are a lot of things that needs to be done in terms of release tools.
The automated tests for
unit tests.
The unit test for which repo was it that was lacking it? Was it the validator?
I think it was for validator.
Yeah. So volume data source validator is going to produce artifacts, so it is going to have release tools, and we are going to we do want to have like prow tests that run when people push new PRs to try to catch regressions before they merge. So yeah, I'm just
Okay.
loading up the code here. Give me a second. My IDE is slow. Oh no, the validator has some unit tests. So let me yank this over here. Yeah, the validator has this package data source validator, and
Right.
it has some test cases here in the test directory. There's no tests for main, but there's not much code here.
That's why I mean I went through this and I couldn't figure out what else needs to be there. Maybe I lack understanding of the project. So
Yeah, this is a pretty simple project. So this one, I don't know how much test we can do. The other one is the volume populator library. This one, because there's no artifacts, and there's just an example, then unit tests are going to be especially helpful here in the populator machinery directory, which is the actual library. They have controller.go, which is it's 760 lines, and it's got this one enormous function called syncpv that's half the file, about 300 lines. So probably what needs to happen is syncpv probably needs to get refactored to be more testable, because having a giant 300 line function is not great for unit testing.
right. Yeah.
And then the rest of this probably, well, I don't know. Yeah, the rest of this is basically just boilerplate controller setup. So
Sure.
if you wanted to take stabs at refactoring some of this and making it testable, I would appreciate it. I mean, I haven't. I'm looking for help because I just haven't thought about it. Right, I have a million things on my to-do list, and I know that there's no tests here, and I know that something needs to be done about it. There's also no logging in any of this. So like one of my PRs is to add a bunch of logging statements here. There's some performance enhancements I was gonna put in to so that the watchers don't watch quite so much stuff. There's a few other kinds of small enhancements like that I was gonna make, and then I was gonna break it up. I was gonna start trying to break it apart to make it more testable. And yeah, if anyone wants to just like help, it would be great. But like I said, I haven't thought about what needs doing and what doesn't need doing. So it would need to be someone who can just come in and be like, this is what we need to do.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
So if you have ideas about how to like refactor this and add tests, go ahead and submit a PR. If that seems like too much, I'll get to it eventually.
Sure. I'll
Yeah.
just go through this repo and I'll try to see if there is anything that I can do about that. And if I'll have questions, I'll ping in Slack.
We also need to think about like end-to-end tests. So like I have my scripts that I run, so I build Hello Populator, which uses the library, and I set up a Kubernetes cluster, and I create some instances of Hello objects, and I watch, the PVCs get populated, and I have pods that run to validate that it happened. And those are all shell scripts that I have in a completely separate project. Like those, maybe I need to move in here. But then the question is like, what kind of framework is necessary to run those tests like in Prow? Because like I have my way of setting up a Kubernetes cluster and installing this stuff. But like in Prow, we would need something that's able to build the example and then set up a Kubernetes cluster and then install the example in the Kubernetes cluster, and do all that stuff. And I just, that's a whole bunch of test stuff that I've never done before. I've done it, but I don't know how to do it in Prow and in the infrastructure. That would be the new thing for me. So yeah, if someone wants to figure out that kind of stuff as well, that would be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, at this point of time, like I don't have anything, but I'll try to go through. Once I go through, I'll learn and I'll understand that if there is anything I can do about that. So
Okay,
yeah,
well that would be great. Yeah, thank you. And while you're at it, you should join the Kubernetes CSI group,
yeah,
so that
I've
like,
already joined that. Yeah.
okay, cool. All right. There was something that came out of one of the I should mention this because this just happened. I was in a cozy meeting and we were talking about finalizers and how to reliably add and remove them. And I was using my live volume populator example, this one right here, ensure finalizer, as an example of how I do this. And we found a bug during that meeting in my implementation. So I have a patch that fixes that too.
I think that's the one that I reviewed and I merged. I believe, I hope it's merged. I put the labels on.
You did? Oh, okay. I can't even remember which ones I pushed and which ones I haven't.
So this is the only PR on that particular repo, I think. And then you have two PRs on this other repo. One is release tools. I reviewed the other one where you address the comments.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I need to go through and get all my PRs straight because I got a bunch of them. And so I'll appreciate quick, small reviews, Shing, because yeah, most of these are going to be like 5 lines, 10 lines, little quickies. Okay. All right. Anything else then from anyone?
Thanks, Ben.
Hi, Ben. Shobhan here. I have some update on the use case that we talked about earlier.
With the database initialization?
No, actually, I was working on a demo to demonstrate this feature. One of the OpenBase user. So the requirement we got there are some application which maintain the replication by themselves. So storage level replication is not required, but application can maintain the pool and they can add node or delete node. They can maintain the replication by themselves. So one of the user was asking to have a solution in which he can create a volume using some seed data. So basically he was using Cassandra and he wanted to add a new node of Cassandra, and that node should contain some volume, and that volume is present in some remote location. So I'm going to demo him the feature, and maybe if any more point I get from that user, I can discuss with you in this call also.
I'd like to understand this a little more clearly because it sounds very interesting. So is it the case that they have like a Cassandra database in a separate Kubernetes cluster and they're trying to create a new copy of it in a different Kubernetes cluster, and so they want a way to basically create the volume with a copy of the data?
Okay, so they have a Cassandra instance, and they want to add a new node to Cassandra. And when we add a new node to Cassandra, uh, uh, Cassandra maintain data copy to more than one place. So there is a performance degradation if we rebuild everything from the scratch. If we just add a new node without seed data, it will take more time to come up. So what that user was asking, some solution in which he can create a new node with some seed data, and that data is present somewhere in some remote location. That data is present. He just need to pull the data and add a new Cassandra node on his Cassandra cluster.
Yeah, I unfortunately don't know anything about Cassandra, so that part doesn't make sense to me. But no, it sounds like a good use case. What I'm trying to understand is like, is the data that you want to seed an exact copy of some other PV that's somewhere, or is it some like where does it come from?
So it.
So what was it like this that you have Cassandra deployed in a Kubernetes cluster? Let's say it is a stateful set. Right now having 3 replicas, and then you want to add the 4th replica, just for example.
Right.
So for example, all 3 replicas, they have some data into it, and when the 4th replica comes up, we actually want the seed data to be, populated by the volume populator. Is my understanding right?
Right.
Okay, but where will this data come from? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Yeah. That seed data actually kind of backup or something they have set up for that Cassandra instance, and they post that seed data to some remote location from the cluster.
So is that like
Uh,
you took a snapshot of that, or is
using
that,
some time interval. Yeah.
I mean, did you take? I mean, you take a snapshot, or you use some Cassandra's own way of like a date dump or something? What is the method that you
Yeah.
do the backup?
That is Cassandra's own way of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess yeah. I don't know enough about Cassandra to know if how this would work in practice, but yeah, like the whole area where populators are meant to shine is when you want to be able to have volumes that contain stuff that you don't already have in another volume or another snapshot, because we have ways to clone volumes with volume cloning. We have ways to take snapshots of volumes and then clone those to new volumes, but there's all these other cases where you have data that's either outside the cluster entirely, or it's something where you don't want to have, you want to be able to dynamically generate it and not just have a bunch of volumes and a bunch of snapshots to clone from. And that's where this feature is intended to really shine. Um, so yeah, I guess when you have that demo ready, please consider presenting it to this group so we can understand how it works. I'm just a dummy about Cassandra, so I don't understand like what kind of replication it does or what kind of C data it needs. But hopefully a demo would make that obvious and we could figure it out.
Do
So
you
yeah.
do you actually take like create a blank PVC first and then override that with those data, or I'm just wondering how you.
well, saying that that's what the populator would do, right? It would start with an empty PVC and fill it with data.
Right. So I'm just wondering, like, okay, so let's just put the populator away for a minute. So like manually when you do, I don't know like how far you are with your demo. Like manually when you do this type of thing, do you normally just create the PVC first and then try to, I don't know what is the term. So you have the process of getting that data back using the Cassandra's way. Is that the steps, or am I completely wrong? Hello?
Yeah.
Did you get my question, or?
So actually, that Cassandra use case is for one of the OpenBase user that user has requested for. I also don't have much idea on Cassandra. What I am doing, I am just presenting him a demo solution where I can pull the data that is present in S3.
Okay, so Xing's question was like manually, how would you do this without a populator? Do you create an empty volume and then get an S3 client and pull the data out of S3 into the volume?
Yeah.
Somehow?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So my container image contain the S3 CLI, and the CR has the configuration of the bucket, and it has the access key and everything. It will pull the data using Populator.
Okay. That makes sense to me. Does that make sense to you, Xing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was also thinking about like how to restore this type of data using the dump. Yeah, so looks like you have to have a PVC first, and then you can run that command. You cannot run that without a volume. I think that's what I'm trying to think.
Yeah. I have a prototype that I made like probably a year and a half ago. Well, I can't remember how long ago. Of some sort of like a backup and restore implementation that relied on some sort of populator that pushed data into S3 and pulled data out of S3. And that was when I realized that we needed to have populators. Is when I wrote that prototype. I was like, oh, we need something to do this pulling of the data and putting it into an empty PVC that's transparent. And so that's why I started working on all this to begin with. So yeah, it totally makes sense. Okay. Anything else, or are we done?
I'm all set.
Going once,
Nothing from my side.
going twice. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you, Shing. And we'll I guess we'll keep the meeting on the calendar for next week, even though it's KubeCon. I am not doing KubeCon personally, but I'm going to attempt to get a meeting with Tim before then, if at all possible. The sooner the better I can get on his calendar. So if I'm able to get a meeting with Tim, I'll let you guys know.
Sounds good.
So everyone can
Sounds
attend.
good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
you.
Bye.
All right, bye guys.
Right.